Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video.
Welcome back, everybody. So let's take a look again on euro currency. Lots of interesting things have happened recently, although we do not see it in the picture, in the chart, but it doesn't mean that the events that we briefly talk about in this video haven't happened. So first of all, because we should return back to the topic of the European Central Bank meeting, that it provides absolutely no information, and it seems that investors are disappointing in the central bank, the European Central Bank, as in terms of the source of the information. So because they can't say actually anything definite, and it's almost impossible trying to use this in investing. So it doesn't provide any clarity to the market. And the only thing that we could say is that probably something really important has to happen to make European Central Bank be more specific on the policy. The one thing that's coming to my mind is, well, actually we briefly discussed this in the last report, that analysts think that inflation in Germany could peak in November, and it could reach the 5%. Since next decisive meeting, more or less decisive, as it could be applied to central bank in Europe, should happen in December. So if indeed inflation will pick up in November, maybe something will be said more definite. But till the December, it's still a long of time. And it seems that only information from the United States will be the driving factor. So everything right now depends on the strength or weakness of the United States dollar, because all information from the Europe actually doesn't exist, so it makes no impact on the market. So in the coming week, mostly it will be statistics, consumer price index, sentiment, consumer sentiment, and retail sales will be in focus. And they really could change their background if this will be again new tops in inflation. So Fed is trying to carry on as if nothing has happened. So, but we know that recent PPI has picked up again, and the hourly earnings in the recent payrolls release also was on top, despite that oral numbers were poor. So it means that inflation, whether they would like it or not, but it is rising. Some additional factors exist that it may be more serious impact, and inflation might be not quite temporal as the Fed suggests. But anyway, the data will be important. And recent rumors on the market at Wall Street Journal, in his article, tells that Fed officials intend to discuss in September meeting tapering, and maybe some information will be provided in the statement, which should be started in November. So it will be announced in November. So currently it's a bit more hawkish statement. It's because mostly market society, including our position, that we're watching mostly on December. But if indeed they will get the hint that tapering has been discussed, and they move market to announcement in November, that should support United States dollar. Finally, the last topic in fundamental background is the sentiment on the euro currency. So if we'll take a look at the commitment of traders report, you will see that net position have increased, but it has happened mostly because of the closing shorts. Longs also were closed, but in a smaller amount. And if you understand on what background that has happened, so actually just last week we've got poor payrolls and market is not able to react even on this definitely dollar weakness. So it doesn't attract the investors into the euro. It means that overall sentiment on the euro is very weak. And currently, as I said, this rally that we have currently looks fragile. That's what about the fundamental background. Fundamental environment makes me watch for downside continuation. So for me, this is bearish background, and with any things equal, I mean on the technical side, I would bet on the downward action. So it seems that, at least based on fundamental background, we have good chances to get reverse head and shoulders at least here, and I wouldn't talk again about the 116.20 OP target. That also could be reached. Now about technical picture. In this week, the dollar index chart takes really very important moment to us. So first of all, if you'll take a look at the weekly chart, you will see that we have bearish grabber here on dollar index. So on the dollar index it is bullish, but for us it is bearish. So this week that we've gone here, actually the grabber on the dollar index that suggests taking out of these lows. This is on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, here we also haven't any grabbers, so euro was able to avoid any grabbers, but on the dollar index you have the grabbers that suggest upward action here. But as I said, taking in consideration all the stuff that I just have talked about, I think that these grabbers might be just a byproduct of the end of the week. So price just has closed, finished at the particular moment when the timing is over, and that leads to appearing of the grabber. Because by the price action and by the events that we've got, well, it's absolutely doesn't supportive to any upward continuation here. Yes, statistics could change everything. We could get some numbers, some weakness, United States dollar, but based on reaction that we've got on the weak non-farm payrolls release, that's no significant change in the sentiment has happened in euro currency. I suspect that even poor numbers on the CPI and consumer sentiment or retail sales, it will be very short-term impact. It will not lead to the changing of the sentiment drastically on the euro currency. That makes me think that I'm mostly aiming and gravitating to the idea of the possible downward continuation here, at least to the next support area. So if you'll take a look at the performance on the Friday, recall that we have bread and butter trade here, but market was not able to reach even the 618 resistance. It barely has touched the 50%, its favorite level, forming guardrails triple to sell, and now starts dropping further. Currently, despite that price stands around the MACD lines on very close to them and the daily and the weekly, but trend on all time frames, including the monthly time frame, is bearish. So this type of action, this performance hardly could be called as the reversal and starting with the new bullish tendency. This is, well, it's very choppy. It's mostly retracement. That makes me think that on the fall time frame chart, that's the support as market shows reaction. Well, in general, this was not bad reaction for intraday session, but currently market is dropping further, and this level supposedly will be broken. So I think that it's really big chances that we'll see euro first at the 1760, and that will be the next moment where the next big step should be estimated, because that will be daily head and shoulders. And in the case of the failure of the pattern of the market here, and failure of the pattern, which is the same, it means that downward continuation taken out of these lows and action in agreement with the weekly dollar index grabber and reaching our OP, if you remember, around 1620. It's large ABCD pattern on daily charts, OP has not been tested yet. Alternatively, if market will be able to stay somehow around 1760 and start with upward reversal and hand shoulder starts to work, it means that we should get greater ABCD pattern, but to the 120 area supposedly. But for me, guys, currently it is absolutely unclear based on what information and what really reasons could be so strong that led euro currency to reach back to the 120. So currently it is unclear. we will see it for the week probably. So you can see overall situation is promised to be very interesting in the coming week. Well, a lot of things could happen during the statistics release from the United States.